Yeah, there's a conspiracy theory for you. Because it was
Right.
also just about 2 weeks apart.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking because I had just gotten
That's
the settlement.
weird.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Peyton, indie author and literary troublemaker.
And I'm Mel, an unapologetic fan of horror, smut, and anything that combines the two. Each week, we take turns convincing each other to read a different book.
And asking the question that haunts every reader's that destroys that to be read pile. What the fuck were we thinking? Hey Mel, how's it going?
Oh, it's great. Casual stumble over our intro that we do every week,
I know
but,
we're
you know,
we might have to adjust that for season two or something.
it's fine. It's casual. Um, no, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. The local hockey team had their first home game last night and we went. And so
Nice.
it's like an hour and a half drive to one way. And so I reread Halloween, which we're covering in our next episode. I had to get fresh.
Yeah, it's
But
uh it's gonna be a ride next week, guys. That's all that I'm gonna say.
yeah, definitely a ride, I
It's
guess would be a good term for it.
Yeah, that shit's redonkulous.
I know. I feel like it's like
I
that episode we've talked about like so much. Like now I'm like kind of nervous that it's not going to be like good.
Oh, I think it's gonna live up to the hype. That
Yeah.
shit was fucking it was raunchy. It was
Definitely.
so raunchy and so what the fuck. And so
Hmm.
I'm ready for next week.
Me
Um,
too.
but it's not
It,
next week yet.
it's not next week, but it is this week. So how's your week been? You've had a pretty crazy week.
Yeah, so I am on the tail end of recovering from a concussion. I got into a minor car accident, so um, you know, that's cool. It's casual. Um, but my head's feeling better, all of that good stuff. So that's kind of hopefully behind us now. Um, I finished Caught Up this week.
Which means you're now officially ahead of me with it because I couldn't finish it. Life got crazy. And
Yeah.
that book is definitely crazy and chaotic. I think at one point this week you texted me and you were like, "Oh my God, blah 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 blah," and I was like, "Oh, you are officially ahead of me."
Yeah, and I was like, my bad. And like I didn't really
Right.
spoil anything,
No,
but
you
also
didn't spoil
like
anything. Yeah, you didn't spoil anything.
I was
Um,
like, oh
I
fuck.
kind of figured, like what you had mentioned, I kind of figured that's what was gonna happen because
Yeah.
I got to that one part before things actually happened. Um,
Yeah.
so he was talking to the roommates, if that tells you. They just walked through the door.
Okay.
So I was like right there.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I'm so excited for you to finish Caught Up. I am also excited because we want to bring Taylor back on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do like a reactions
Hmm.
video, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I next week I'm going to Savannah and that's a 4.5 hour drive. So I'm good. It'll be right by the time I
yeah,
get down there. And then yeah, so like maybe the first week in November we can like bring on Taylor. I'll see if she's available for the reaction.
that would be fun.
That might and that might
I'm
just be the whole
s-
episode, a reaction episode.
I think that I actually have some thoughts about Caught Up that I'm really excited to share, and I think you
Okay.
guys are going to want to kill me for. Um, so because they're gonna definitely be hot takes, I think. But I did love the book. I loved all the characters. I love that we still got Allie and Josh a little
Yeah.
bit and caught up. Um, so that happened. I read Halloween, which
Yay.
was fun.
An
Um,
adventure. It's an adventure.
yeah, an adventure. That's one way to say it. Um, for those who don't know, I did go wedding dress shopping this weekend too. And I can't talk about it too much because my fiance is sitting behind the screen.
Right.
But I found the dress.
Hmm. It's
So
stunning. It's so pretty.
yeah, so that's really awesome. And it has pockets.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah,
I will say, and the only thing I'm gonna say about it is your smile and how happy and how beautiful you felt outshone the dress. Like, and the dress is gorgeous. But
yeah,
just like I showed Tom and we were both like, oh, look how happy she is. Like, that's how we knew it was the right dress. We were like, oh my God. So you
yeah.
look beautiful.
Well,
I'm so
thank
excited.
you. It was interesting because I wasn't going with the intention of buying anything this weekend.
Right.
Um, and we went through the first appointment in the morning and I tried on like 20 dresses. And we found one that I really liked,
Hmm.
but I wasn't necessarily sold on it. And then we went to the second boutique, and it was the first dress that I tried on. And the first time I tried it on and I walked out, I was almost in tears.
Because you're leaving it.
I was loving it so much.
Hmm.
And then we tried on a few others, and nothing held a candle to it. So I'm
Right.
very excited. It's my very own princess dress. Like,
Hmm.
it's gonna be great.
I think it's so funny. Like, I just occurred to me, I got in a major car accident and then 2 weeks later went wedding dress shopping and found my dress. And the car accident, the guy that hit me wound up paying for my dress. So my
Oh,
dress is,
wow.
yeah. And cause like, they give you a payment of this is how much it's going to cost to get your car fixed. And
Hmm.
it was like right at $1,000. But it was such a cosmetic thing, but it was right where my door was. Like, you still can't see it. Like, I would still have to point it out. And it's been like almost 10 years now. And like, and I was like, do I have to use this money for that? And they were like, no, you can just keep the money if you want to. And I was like, okay. And I had fell in love with this dress and it was way out of the price range that I originally picked. And I was like, wait a minute. No, it's not. And just like bought it with the money that a guy like completely ruined my car with. So that is kind of weird though that we both had a car accident and went wedding dress shopping.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy theory for you. Because it was
Right.
also just about 2 weeks apart.
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking because I had just gotten the
That's
settlement
weird.
the day before
I
and it
haven't
was a
gotten my
little less
settlement
than,
yet,
yeah.
because they have to bring in a bodily injury adjuster for
Oh
mine because I
yeah.
got the
'Cause you got hurt.
concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see. I'm curious now, and I'll have to let you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. Let me know for sure. Well, if that is any indication, you're gonna have a great marriage because Tom and I have a fantastic marriage.
Hey,
It may
if
start a little
that's
rough with a car accident, but you have a great
if
marriage.
if that's the omen, then I'm here for it.
Right?
I'll
Right?
take it. My head took more damage than my car did in the accident, so like, you know, I'm here
Back
for it.
I was like 17 or 18 and I was in a turning lane, but I was looking, obviously, I was in a right-hand turning lane. I was looking left to see if I could turn or not, and the guy behind me wasn't paying attention, so my neck was completely turned and I sprained my neck
Oh,
really bad. So that's
man.
definitely, yeah. When you are actually physically hurt, it takes a lot more out of you. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're feeling a lot better.
Well, thank you. How was your week? I know it was
Um,
interesting.
I think I'm looking for a new profession. I'm gonna be honest. It's been rough. Let me find a different profession. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
hopefully things get better.
Yeah.
Um, but on a happier note, I have a very fun book for you this week.
I'm excited. I don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not gonna tell you what we're doing until I'm
Okay.
doing it. So, are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Okay. There once was a girl, clever and good, who tarried in shadow in the depths of the wood. There also was a king, a shepherd by his crook, who reigned over magic and wrote the old book. The two were together, so the two were the same. The girl, the king, and the monster they became. So picture this. You live in the kingdom of Blunder. It's an eerie place surrounded by a magical mist. People don't come to Blunder. People don't leave. And magic is forbidden, except to the few who hold the cards. The king is unforgiving. Those who are found to have magic or to have concealed someone with magic are sentenced to death, but not in the typical sense of the word. They are forced to walk into the mist plagued into the mist-plagued woods surrounding Blunder, where raw magic hunts and minds are lost. You are one of the few who have managed to conceal your magic, a monster who lives in your mind that you call the nightmare. You've been able to keep everyone you love blissfully unaware of your magic until you're thrust into a world filled with shadow and deception after having a run-in with a highwayman. A highwayman who just so happens to be the king's nephew, and he has a secret of his own. The two of you have to work together to save your kingdom from not just the darkness within, but the mist that creeps inward every day.
I heard a theory about Garrett the other day.
Oh,
Um, so everyone falls in love with Geralt, right?
right.
'Cause he's stunning. Even in the games, I was madly in love with him, right? Like, how can you not be in
Yeah.
love with him? Someone said that the reason why males and females fall in love with Geralt of Rivia is because of the fact being that he is like Legolas and Aragorn from Lord of the Rings had a baby. I now can't unsee it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's 100. It's like the perfect meshing between
Fuck.
those two characters.
Bro, why?
I,
That is a theory that I'm not going to be able to unsee now.
you can't unsee it, but think
I,
about like they were like the two like characters that everyone fell in love with in Lord of the Rings. And again, like I grew up reading Lord of the Rings, so like I don't know. Like so now he's like the perfect, and I'm like, of course, that's why I fell in love with him because he even acts like
yeah,
that. Stoic and
yeah,
then randomly funny as fuck.
does. I really hate and love that. It's,
Yeah, sorry.
that's okay. That's fine. I just have to sit on that for a second
It took me a couple
because,
days.
like, I am definitely a big Aragorn person over
Hmm.
Legolas. And, like,
Me too. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. They're just so book coded and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. We wonder why we got into reading the type of stuff that we did. And then you look at the kind of media that came out
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. They made books look real good back then. Now it's just kind
Right.
of like, eh,
Yeah. Yep.
so.
Um, but anyway, so that's the kind of vibe that we're thinking.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
all the way around, just really dark, moody, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Dark Ages, but not quite that dark yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The magic system is very important in this book. So while I would normally start by talking about the characters, I actually want to start by talking about the magic system.
Okay.
So it's got a couple of different pieces that all work together. So the first piece that we have is the mist.
Mm,
The entire kingdom of Blunder is surrounded by this magical, sort of sentient mist that isolates it from the rest of the world. And the mist came about a long, long time ago after the Shepherd King started bartering for magic, because he wanted to have magic to himself, he wanted to have control over it. And so, as he bartered for more and more magic, this mist started to kind of come in and it became cursed and it infects anyone who touches it. And the way you can tell you're infected is if, you'll start to have like a fever and flu-like symptoms, and it's like a standard, sickness.
Okay.
But if you've got this sickness and your veins run black while you're sick, you're infected with magic.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Um, and the infection obviously doesn't always kill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if it picks the right person, it's going to leave traces of magic behind. So mist is super important. You also, in order to be okay in the mist, you have to have a lucky charm that kind of like wards you. So it can be rabbit's foot, or some people use hair that they tie into like a ring that they carry with them, or, a necklace or something that, you know, again, just something that is stereotypical, like good luck charm.
Mm-hmm.
You can carry that with you and you'll be okay. Like the magic will kind of leave you alone.
Okay.
So that's also kind of neat. Again, it's pseudo sentient. Um, then the second piece of the magic system are the Providence cards. So I'm actually going to start talking about the Providence cards with a quote.
Okay.
Um, Practice restraint and know it by touch. Use cards when they're needed and never too much. For too much of fire, our swords would all break. Too much of wine, a poison doth make. Excess is grievous, be knave, maid, or crown. Too much of water, how easy we drown. Um, so when we're thinking of the Providence cards, and this isn't gonna be the best picture in the world. Let me see here. I was gonna try to share my screen. Never mind. I will just send you the picture, but we're gonna
You
think.
should be able to share your screen.
I see share. Ah, here we go.
There we go.
We're gonna share screen one. So can you see the
So
cards?
I can see the loading screen.
Oh, it's loading?
Well,
Oh, for Zoom?
I don't see the cards. It just says that you're sharing.
Mm, okay. Let's
Well, you're recording, so it should show on your end
okay.
when we record.
I will just drop you the picture
Okay.
so that you can insert that in.
Yeah.
But think like tarot cards,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and so
Oh, there it is.
oh, it popped up.
Yeah.
It only
Okay.
took forever. Um, so we're
Yeah, I
thinking
do
tarot
like tarot
cards.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're really kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of them. Um, so we'll kind of run through them real quick.
Okay.
If I can find my chart. So there's and each of these cards has a different quantity of cards. So you've got the Black Horse, which makes you a master of combat. Um, if you overuse the card, you become weak. The Golden Egg gives you great wealth, but it's on the flip side of the coin going to also give you all-consuming greed. The Prophet will give you glimpses of the future, but it makes users helpless to change the future.
Hmm.
The White Eagle gives you courage, but makes you fearful at the same time with overuse.
Okay.
Um, the Maiden gives you great beauty, but it strips you of all emotions, so you become cold-hearted. The Chalice will turn liquid into truth serum, but it then turns the truth serum into poison.
Oh,
Yep. The Well gives you the ability to recognize your enemies, but you might end up being betrayed by a friend. Um, there's several more.
okay.
The Nightmare, which is what the monster in our main character's head is super important. It allows the user of the card to speak into the minds of others.
Oh, interesting.
The consequence is that it reveals your deepest fears.
Hmm.
So those are a handful of the Providence cards. And the Shepherd King was given these Providence cards as he was bartering for magic. So that's how he can use magic is by using the cards.
Okay.
There are in total 12 different types of cards. Each, as we learned, have a different, very specific power.
Hmm.
And the cost of using the cards is visceral. So it leads to either physical or mental corruption and decline over time. The more you use them, the idea would be to only use them when you need them.
Okay.
They also become like a symbol of status in this book. Like if you have a Providence card, especially one of the less common Providence cards,
Hmm.
that's huge. You can actually use those to broker marriage arrangements,
Oh,
um, to get into good graces with other people. You can hold them to yourself to have your own power. So they're almost used like a currency if you've got one,
hmm.
and they're again a symbol of power, a symbol of status.
So again, because I don't know anything, but like these Providence cards, do they just come to you or can you like buy them?
No, so you can't buy them. Usually they're either given to you or you steal them, which is a crime. If you stealing a Providence card is a huge crime.
Okay.
Um, but if you die, someone in your family's probably going to take it if they know that you have it or
Right.
whatever the case may be. They're typically held in wealthier families, but you know, again,
No shocker there.
yeah, exactly. Um, so like all of the Black Horse cards, there's 12 Black Horse cards. Those are given to the king's guard, basically. Um, so that way, whenever the king's guard enters into battle, they're the best contestants. Um, so it's stuff like that. I've got somebody behind me. Hi, Beans. Um, Now here's the catch, because the longer that these Providence cards stay out there in the world, the further inward the mist creeps, and the more likely you are to become infected by the mist or encounter a situation where you end up going into the mist.
Okay.
So if you can collect all of the cards and reunite the deck, you can end the curse and restore the balance of magic. So magic goes back to being something from nature.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. The third aspect of the magic system is the nightmare. So the nightmare lives inside our female main character's head. Her name is Elspeth. After she gets infected when she was a kid.
Hmm.
And so, like the rest of the magic system, he gives her power and protection, but takes something else in return. And so, this is kind of where we'll segue into characters, starting with Elspeth. But I kind of want to know what you think about the magic system.
I love it. You know me, I'm a sucker for a good magic system.
Mhm.
Like that will make or break a book so quickly. Um, and I really like it. I like the idea that there's like this sentient mist that kind of works with it, and the idea that you got to reunite the cards to break the curse, but especially considering that rich people own these cards, like there's no way in hell they're going to give up that magic and that power just to fix something that they have the money and power to run away from.
Exactly.
So
Right.
I'm excited. I like it a lot.
Rachel Gillig does a very good job with duality
Hmm.
in her books. So we see that here, and we also saw that in The Night and the Moth,
Hmm.
uh, where she also uses physical items to represent magic.
Yeah, I was about to say like it sounds like you can tell that the same author wrote the two books
Yeah, but they're
when
also
you're talking about
so
the magic.
different.
Yeah, they're different, but there's always like this weird um echo that's
Hmm.
in all this books and like my favorite writer is Brandon Sanderson and he's written dozens of books, well over 20 about the same, it's in the same cosmere in the same universe, but every planet and every series has a different magic system, but you can still feel that cosmetic or cosmos connection, that cosmere connection. Like you can tell that the same writer put an echo of his own soul into each magic system. And like I haven't even read these books back until like that she still wrote them, but they sound completely different.
Yeah. It almost makes me wonder, and probably not, but like if the worlds in One Dark Window and The Night and the Moth are
Are connected.
somehow
Mhm.
connected.
Well, and
Um,
that's immediately what I thought of. That was going to be a question I asked is like, are these connected together? Like, is she going to combine these series at one point? Because hearing them and the emphasis on the well in particular kind of echoed The Night and the Moth.
yeah.
And the fact being that they have these like good luck charms.
Yep.
Was that something that popped up in The Night and the Moth too? Like there was like these objects.
Yeah. 100%. And so The Night and the Moth, that is her second series. It does have echoes of the One Dark Window series in it. I don't know. There's something about having like physical objects that contain the magic
Right.
instead of people having magic most of the time.
I kind of really like that. And if
Yeah.
you are listening and you've not went back and listened to the Night and the Moth episode, finish this episode and then go listen to that one because you'll kind of see in the fact being that this was written before the Night and the Moth, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a
Yeah. The
different
Night and the Moth.
series. It's the same author, so
Yeah, Night and the Moth came out earlier this year. So 2025. And One Dark Window came out in 22.
okay.
Yeah. Um, but I also think that you're gonna love the characters in
Okay.
this book. So we have Elspeth Spindle. There's a lot of characters. I'm just actually gonna state that right now. So we're only gonna focus on the three biggest ones. Elspeth Spindle. She's our female main character. She, like I said, she got the infection at a young age during an outbreak. And then she became saddled with the nightmare, her live-in buddy.
Hmm.
Um, After she got the infection, in an attempt to kind of help hide her away, she was sent to go live with her uncle in the town of Hawthorne, is within the bounds of Blunder. She spends her whole life hiding the infection and the nightmare from everybody around her. And she only uses the powers that the nightmare gives her when she needs saving or help. So the nightmare and Elspeth form this very uneasy yet protective partnership. Um, and the banter between the two of them is quite funny.
Okay.
It's it's much sassier and more barbed, but same kind of funny as
Gargoyle.
Gargoyle with Sybil.
Okay.
Um, Elspeth is very resourceful. She's secretive, she's guarded, loyal, protective, very careful. She's actually not a teenager. She's just out of her teenage years, but she's 20 years old in the book.
Hey, we have someone older. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not by Smith,
not
but someone older.
yeah. Um Not 15,
Not
you know.
15. Not a baby.
Yeah, I'm just a baby.
Just a baby.
Um so she's got all these things going for her, and then she meets Raven U, which is kind of the launching point for the entire story. So Raven U is the king's nephew and the captain of the king's guard. But
Okay.
he's also a highwayman.
What is a
So the,
highwayman?
he's a highwayman. So he's robbing people
Oh.
for the cards.
Okay.
So he's committing treason, basically, because he wants to reunite the deck.
Good for him. Now,
Yep.
does he use his power to say it's for the king?
No,
Dang.
he goes out, masked
Oh,
man
so he's
central up in
Robin Hood,
here.
and so he's
Yeah,
straight up Robin Hood.
he's
Okay.
straight up robbing people of these cards.
I like it.
And Elspeth, Elspeth's uncle has a card. And
Okay.
that's why Raven tries to rob Elspeth. And that's how they meet. But she
Okay.
doesn't realize who he is. Um, so he's on this mission to reunite the deck, bring peace back to Blunder, because the king is using the cards that he has in his possession for bad.
Okay.
He's being cruel and awful, and he's executing people and sending them off into the woods if he finds out that they have magic and all of these things. Awful, awful guy. Um, but Raven U, he is such a book boyfriend. He definitely makes like top three
Okay.
book boyfriends. And he knows what he wants.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so there's this one scene where things start to get a little spicy, and he goes, "Can I kiss you?" And Elspeth's like, "A bit late to ask, isn't it?" And he goes, "Not on your mouth, Elspeth." His eyes turned wicked as he lowered himself to his knees.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
He's
That line alone just won me over.
yeah, he's good with his words. He's
Mhm.
got a very clever mouth in more ways than one.
Nice. But he,
Um, anyways, so we have Raven, saucy, sassy, but also like very protective, very shrouded as well, very traumatized. And then we have the nightmare. So the nightmare is very protective of Elspeth and also very short-tempered,
okay.
very sassy, and he's extraordinarily cryptic in what is sometimes the most irritating of ways. Always speaking in rhymes and riddles. Nobody ever knows what the fuck he means. And then it hits them like a truck. Um, so the nightmare, honestly, the nightmare's kind of terrifying, but you also grow to love him in your
Right.
own way.
Yeah.
And especially in book two, because you really start to learn the nightmare's backstory.
Mhm.
Um, so that was kind of cool. Um, and so obviously with all these characters, we get a lot of themes in the book. So we get the duality of decision. Everything has consequences. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and you can't always escape the consequences, which I feel like in a lot of books now, the consequences are these big things that the authors hang over our heads. And then once we actually get to the consequence, it's
Hmm.
like, that's it.
Yeah, could you not have thought of something stronger?
Right.
Hmm.
And I think one of the nice things that Gillig does in this book with the consequences is that each decision has a different consequence. Right.
Yeah, okay.
So in Fourth Wing, for example, the consequence of using your magic too much or your powers too much from the dragons is something called burnout.
Okay.
And how you get to burnout differs, but it's the same thing basically for everybody.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And in um in the ACOTAR series, like you can kind of exhaust your magic by exhausting your energy, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really die, and there's no real, it doesn't feel like consequence for using magic, except for the fact that if you use too much of it, you can't keep it up.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
maintain it. And so like it's nice to actually be able to have consequences,
Hmm.
I think, that aren't anticlimactic.
Yeah, it's hard to do that because you don't want to ruin your characters, but you also need to give them bigger consequences to their actions instead of just putting them out of service for a hot minute.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I definitely agree. And I think because of the use of physical objects for magic in these books, the consequences work out very well. And they
hmm.
can be heavier because these are consequences that everybody are everyone's aware of,
Right.
you know.
I'm trying to,
Uh,
as a writer, I'm trying to think back, like, I'm sure I've had those moments where I'm like, characters need to like slow down and have burnouts. And I feel like Finley had a burnout a little bit in the Everburning City. Um, his isn't necessarily for using his magic, it's more
mhm.
like for neglecting his truth and breaking bonds that I don't know, he just doesn't want to be a god, so he just kind of like wants to just be a regular human being. And because of it, he
Yeah,
just kind of the whole book's a burnout for him, I think.
I
So,
gotcha.
yeah.
That's that's rough. Having
It
a whole
is.
book
Yeah.
be like a character burnout because sitting there, I'm like, wow, if we look at my life as a book, then I've been also experiencing character burnout through the whole thing. And
I
that's just kind of
yeah.
like a gut punch realization
hmm
almost.
And I think when I wrote it, I was kind of in the same situation where like I was definitely in the process of like killing my old self and rediscovering my new self type of thing. So yeah, I guess I was kind of going through a burnout too. And it's one of those situations because I'm in the process of trying to start to write book two, and I'm realizing my male main character nobody knows. Because
Mm,
the whole entire first book, from the moment you meet him, he's like you don't realize it, but he's going through a burnout. And he's just they're all kind of like by the time you meet all the males in my book, they've been traveling for months on a road
yeah,
to hunt down a wyvern, and they're fucking exhausted by the time you meet them. So
yeah.
now, like, we're into book two, and I'm like, I have to rewrite all of these characters because now is going to be the time in book two that you actually learn, like, the type of people they really are.
I think
And
that's gonna be fun though.
it's a lot of fun. I like it. A lot of people like certain characters the way that they were in book one, and then book two will come around, and you're like, oh, this is not the person I thought they were. So it'll be fun.
That's how you keep a plot line spicy though, right? Is
That is
by
true. That is
completely
true.
changing things up on people.
hmm
Um,
But
yeah. Um, but so
sorry, I didn't
that's
mean to interrupt.
you're all good. Interrupt away. This is a very like clinical breakdown of this book because there are so many moving parts
hmm
that it does kind of feel it's weird because it feels like a very sterile environment because
hmm
I have to be so careful with how I break down this book again because of all of the pieces that are moving around and that interlock with each other.
hmm
So like I don't know. Again, that's also duality of decision because it came down to what do I include and what do I not include without or that's not going to spoil everything.
Yeah.
Um, so hopefully that's not one of the consequences of this. Hopefully I'm not spoiling anything.
I haven't
Um,
spoiled anything so far.
well, that's good. And we also have a lot of moral decay of people when they have what they want and what they need, and yet they keep asking for more. We saw a lot of that moral decay, just from the backstory of the Shepherd King. He bartered away something for a magic card, and then he was like, "Well, now I want more magic," and he kept going back and back and back, cursing himself and eventually the kingdom of
Yeah.
Blunder.
So there's a series, only because I'm sorry if it gets on your nerves, but like I always like to, my ADHD makes me compare shit. Um, People are either gonna love it about the podcast or not gonna love it. There's a series that Brandon Sanderson does. Again, he's my favorite author and he writes magic so well, where you can barter your soul, but they call it colors. So like you can kind of your own soul is on the payment block per se. And what it is the more you give away your soul, the less colors you can see, but people are able to use your colors as magic.
Oh,
Right. So the more magic you have, the more colors on the spectrum that you can see, which means the more that you can manipulate that concept. So you can breathe. For instance, the literally open chapter is this guy's in jail and he just takes some straw and he makes a little almost like voodoo doll stick figure out of him, and then he breathes colors into him or breathes life into him, and he's like, "Go get me a key." And so the little creature just do grabs a key, brings it back, gives the guy the key, and then he takes his colors back. He takes his breaths back. So you can kind of barter your own soul for different things. You need some money, you barter your soul.
Interesting.
Right? Right? And it's really interesting because then, like, if you're a wielder of your colors or of your souls or your breaths, a lot of people call it different things, then all of a sudden you're able to do stuff like make objects that are inanimate turn into a temporary life, and then you give and take away life and all this other stuff. And the more colors you have, the higher up you can be. So, like, the
Mhm.
emperor has as many colors as you possibly can have. So they're basically a god.
Interesting. That's wild.
Right. Can't pay your taxes, you give away parts of your soul for the emperor to get more souls so that he can be more godlike. Isn't that crazy? So that's kind of
At
how, like,
that
I'm
point,
kind
I would just be a bookie, and when
of
people couldn't pay their debts,
right.
I
Yeah.
would take their colors.
Yeah, and it's not like you can't die from it. You do
Hmm.
run out. And I forget what they call them, but basically it's just like going colorblind. Like you're like the grays. Like you're just kind of like a living zombie. Like you just kind of like are out of it and just sit around and like don't do anything, and you see in black and white. Like you lose all your vision.
That's depressing as fuck.
Yeah, it's really honestly like Brandon Sanderson's always been really good about like sneaking in those like political aspects of it without making it feel like that.
Yeah.
Because he like builds up a magic system that's so intense. But like, yeah, it's interesting to see, and that kind of reminds me of that, like
Hmm.
same kind of concept. Not that they're anything
Yeah.
alike, but that
Well,
same.
there is moral decay there though, right?
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
the more you barter away the soul, the less morality in theory you contain. And so it's a different type of moral decay, but it's still decay nonetheless. Um, it's also that kind of conflict in both cases between light and dark and the fragility of identity, right?
Hmm.
Because in the Brandon Sanderson situation, the your identity revolves around your colors and how
Hmm.
many colors you have. And when you don't have the colors anymore, your identity's gone.
Yeah.
In this world, the light and the dark conflict obviously comes with the consequence of using a card.
Hmm.
But the fragility of identity, when people lose these cards, sometimes they don't know who they are without them because
Right.
they've been using them for so long,
Right.
right?
And I have no doubt whatsoever that your like social status is also associated with the cards.
Yep,
It's like
it
losing your
certainly can be.
forfeit. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's wild. There's also a lot of fear and secrecy and stigma in this book, discrimination based off
Mhm.
of the whether or not you have natural magic from the infection. Um, so we get a little bit of a political aspect too to that. And then nature versus corruption,
Mhm.
right? So the cost of redemption, we see that in our own world as we barter away parts of nature and our environment
Mhm.
for more things that we don't need, more super centers and more, you know, resources instead of, renewing our resources. We're just destroying the areas where we could renew them.
Right.
And so, we're corrupting nature. And what is the redemption gonna cost us? And it's the same kind of concept in this book, right? We corrupted nature by stealing all of the magic from it.
Hmm.
and the cost of redemption is uniting the deck. Um, so this is like a medium burn romance. Um, there's a lot of tension, a lot of yearning. Oh my gosh. So much yearning, especially going into the second book. It's it's the intensity of a Mr. Darcy hand clench,
Ooh, okay.
shown in very different ways.
Hmm.
But oh my God, Peyton, there's so much yearning in this book. And
I
it's
think I prefer those kind of books over the slow or the fast burns. Like I like the more
that
realistic.
medium.
Yeah, that nice medium.
Yeah. I I really like the romance in this book. I really like that. I mean, Raven jumped Elspeth the first time they met, and then when that all comes to light, it's like, well, you have to build trust now.
Hmm.
She's like, yeah, I want to help you guys on your mission, but I have to also be able to trust you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so they have to get to know each other too. And so I wouldn't necessarily call it enemies to lovers,
Hmm.
but it's definitely built from the ground up. And also having to learn to trust someone when it's not always comfortable to trust them because you're
Right.
in a dangerous situation where you clearly can't take care of yourself, but you also don't know this person very well. So you
Hmm.
have to trust that they're going to help you.
Hmm.
And building connections and relationships and things like that. This book is full of it. Um, we also see the dissolve of relationships in this book. So Elspeth lives with her uncle and she's got this cousin that she's really close to, and their relationship dissolves because of something that the uncle does.
Okay.
And so, like, the complexity of the relationships here is intense. Beans, my cat is doing something funky.
I think that's important though, like with a real novel, like I think it's important to show real humanistic sides. Like it's not just, I think a lot of times we get these romance and these romantasy books, and then like all the red flags don't matter. And then you're just perfect together. And it's like that's not how this works. Like that's not reality of a situation. Even if you're soulmates and you're meant to be together forever, you still have to get to know each other.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's really cool to watch that relationship and that trust build
Hmm.
throughout the book. So I don't know. I know I didn't dive too much into the plot itself, but I
Hmm.
don't think that that's necessary for this book.
I'm
And
gonna be honest with you, like I think a lot of times we struggle with that too, because sometimes I do that as well. And then it's like, if you can convince me the foundation of the story is great, I don't need the plot. I'm there. If you tell me this relationship's worth it, I'm there. If you tell me the magic system's strong, I'm there. Okay, and
yeah,
then I still have that mystery going into a novel, which I personally like.
yeah, I like it too. And honestly, I think talking about the plot in this book specifically is a really fast way to spoil everything
Yeah.
because the plot is so centered around the magic and especially centered around Elspeth and the nightmare that she's got in her head.
Hmm.
talking too much about the plot is going to completely ruin it. So I don't want to do that. I want to leave you with mystery going into this book.
Right.
I mean, it gets 5 stars from me.
There you
It's
go.
a
Yeah.
2.5, I would say, on the spice scale, so you get spicier scenes.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, that's what palate cleansers are for anyway, so if you don't go for
yeah,
the spice, I'd be reading a palate cleanser. I wouldn't be reading a novel.
right. Um, so it's like a 2.5 to a 3 on the spice scale. The second book does get spicier, but this one is a very solid one for what they're trying to do over the duration of the book.
Right.
Um, honestly, if I had a book where like I just got amnesia for that book,
Hmm.
and the only thing I remembered was the name of it, it would be this book so that I could read it all over
All
again.
over again.
I love Twilight. I love so many books, Butcher and Blackbird, all of those.
But there's some books that you want to experience reading for the first time again. Yeah.
This is one
Yeah.
that I would like to experience reading for the first time all over again.
Right.
And it's also one of the books that I really credit with getting me back into reading
Hmm.
because it's very well paced. I don't feel like anything drags out unnecessarily long and nothing's extremely short. I think it's just very well done from start to end.
Hmm.
The characters are deep, they're not one-dimensional characters. The magic system is insane. I mean, even the description that I had today doesn't cover it. Um, and then there are honestly a lot of plot twists throughout the course of the book that just kind of leave you dazed.
Hmm.
Um, I had so many what the fuck just happened moments while I was reading it. Um, I really feel like Gillig killed it with these books. Um, and I didn't know what The Knight and the Moth was going to be about when I
Hmm.
first saw it. I just saw the cover release
Right.
and it was like, okay, it's Rachel Gillig. Her first books were so strong. I'm gonna read
Right.
this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think if a first series can do that to somebody too, like that speaks a
Hmm.
lot. Um, so with that, I'm going to wrap up this very technical synopsis with another little quote. Be wary, be clever, be good. And that
That's
is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig.
oh. I am definitely putting that on my list. I think your synopsis of the night and the moth alone would have made me trust her as a writer,
Hmm.
but now I'm like very excited to read this one too. So,
Yeah, I I think you'll see where a lot of the inspiration for The Night and the Moth comes from reading these books, at least
yeah.
stylistically, and technically. I really appreciate the depth of character that Gillig creates in the individuals that you read about.
Yeah.
Even the minor characters have depth, which is really nice.
Right.
Um, I feel like so often some of the minor characters don't get their time to shine.
Hmm. I've
And
always,
sometimes the
yeah,
minor characters are the ones that you end up loving the most,
most.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, I some people really hate my writing because I always do write an ensemble of characters because I've always felt that way too. Like it's always like the minor characters that I fall in love with, and you have so many different personalities reading your books. If you're, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but if you're like Sarah J. Maas and you focus, like you have an ensemble, but you just focus on one character or two characters, one male, one female in your series, it's going to drive people crazy and it's going to turn people off. At least it does for me. Like, and don't get me wrong, like with her, she always filters through. And so each story's a different set of characters. But it's almost like there's this rule where if it's about Cassie and Anesta, all the other characters are forgotten. And you're like, what's going on with everybody else?
Yeah, that was really rough for me with
Yeah.
the last one that was literally just Cassie and Nesta. Feyre
Well,
was such a huge
yeah.
part of all of the books leading up to it. And
Right.
then she becomes this background character, a background character that feels one-dimensional, even though we know there's a lot more to
Right.
Feyre. Yeah.
And you bring her to the surface, but then you, in order to make people love Nesta, she had to take all the other characters away and literally put Nesta and Cassian on this island. And now, after all these books, try to convince us that we need to fall in love with Nesta and Cassian. Cassian's not hard to
Yeah.
fall in love with, but Nesta, like, it was really hard for her to get anyone to fall in love with her. And the only way she was successful was by putting her basically on an island.
Hmm.
And a metaphorical and sometimes physical island. Like it you don't want to do that as a writer. You want to kind of go in and at least me personally, I don't want to do that as a writer. If I'm going to go in and I'm going to focus on a character for a novel, I got to have other side characters, or else you're just going to be torturing people. We were talking about that with Caught Up and about
Yeah.
how you were so happy to see Allie and Josh again. And it's important because that book got us to Caught Up. Lights Out got us to Caught Up. And if you're not going to give us the
Yeah.
characters in Lights Out, you might as well just have a different book and not put it in a series.
Well, and here's the other thing too that Nivessa Allen does very well in that what's going to be a trilogy is that the characters, so Allie and Josh, they're in Caught Up. They're not major characters, they are
No.
minor characters, but their
Yes.
personality still shines through. They don't
Right.
stop being multi-dimensional characters.
Right. And like, I think another thing that and again, I haven't finished Caught Up, but one of the things that I loved about Junior is like, he still thinks about them. Like,
Hmm.
even if Josh and them are not in it, he talks about Josh being like one of his best friends and about how good a relationship they've gotten and about how funny Josh is and all this other jazz. And so you see, like, the characters in the first book have bonded with the characters in the second book and
Hmm.
how important they are. So you feel as a reader that you've went on that journey too.
Yeah.
And that's so important. And like I was saying, like I wrote the Everburning City and now I'm working on part two, the second book, and and I'm having to like basically rewrite all of my male characters, at least. My female character, she's fine, but my male characters, because by the time she met all my male characters, they had been going through hell for months.
Hmm.
They were in mode, survivor mode. And so now book two is essentially her relearning all these people that she already knows.
Yeah.
And it could be a blast. It could be horrible because my male main character is going to be a completely different personality. And it could be great, it could be terrible. You never know. But the fact is that you're still creating that bond. You're still letting your readers go on this journey.
Yeah.
And that's so important to if a certain character gets a reader to pick up a book number two, book number three, book number seven in a series, then you can't neglect that character, even if
A
it means
hundred
around
percent.
the, yeah, yeah, so,
I actually think the character, surprisingly enough, that I like the most in the One Dark Window series is the Nightmare. I love Elspeth. Love Raven You.
right.
He, I, I can't actually. Um, but the Nightmare is just so interesting
Mm-hmm.
of a character. And figuring out the nightmare and, you know, going through the process of collecting these cards is one of the biggest things that made me pick up the second book.
Right.
Um,
Well,
so
and like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I definitely trailed off on my sentence there. It's fine.
Well, I was just thinking about like the series, the color series that I keep talking about.
Mhm.
The main character has the sword, and we've talked about it before, but about the sentient sword,
Mhm.
who's like, "Hey, do you want to kill some today?" And like he is sentient because he has all of, colors associated
Yeah.
with him. Um, so Nightblade, anytime you unsheath him, black smoke and colors kind of trickle out, and I've even got a tattoo of him right here. Oof. Can you see him? And you can see like the colors kind of trickling out from him. But he is essentially just a sword in the novel, but every time he comes on, you're like, oh yay. Because it's like he's got such a great characteristic and he has such a personality. And you want to get to know what he's doing and why he's doing it and why he is the way that he is, so much so that years later he writes another series on a different planet in the same Cosmere. And you're like, what did that random ass sword just say? Is that Nightblood? Why the fuck is he on this planet? What the fuck is he doing? Why is he there? Like, I need to know everything. And so you just kind of get like that's how you bring in characters. They don't have to be the main characters. It's okay. Like when you have a good character, sometimes having too much of a quirky personality is annoying.
Mhm.
So,
There's a
yeah.
sword in a book called Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff
Uh-huh.
called Ash Drinker, and she is also a sentient sword.
What is it about
And
sentient swords? I love it.
well, Ash Drinker is fucking hilarious too.
Hmm.
So she's a little broken, and because she's a little broken, sometimes she has like memory loss. Or she'll speak with a stutter
Oh.
into the wielder's mind, and it's just like it's so endearing.
Hmm.
I do love a good sentient weapon.
Hmm. There's another book where all the swords, there's these certain specific swords, and you learn throughout the history of the swords, they become swords, but they're actually little pieces of gods.
Mm.
And people bond with those gods, and then like a part of the magic system is there. You bond with this little creature, whether it be like a little fairy or just like a pattern that appears, and then they can transmute into swords. Well, at some point, if something happens to the
What the fuck
human,
were we thinking?
that sword just stays a sword and becomes like a dead kind of sword. And so it's just a
Interesting.
sword. But then at one point, one of the characters gets one of these swords. And I don't think I'm, God, by the time you would get 12 books into the series, you'd completely forget about this. So I don't think I'm ruining anything. But at some point, they start going to a place called Shadesmar. and he's traveling, which is the God's world, like the little parallel universe to theirs that's like a God's world.
Mhm.
And he's traveling with a sword, and all of a sudden his sword turns into this ghostly, mute, deaf woman who's like
Oh,
walking around with him, and he's like, are you my sword? And like just keeps talking to her, and even like anytime they visit the God's world, like he talks to this ghost person, but then when they get back to the regular world, he's like talking to the sword like she's still there, and like somehow ends up like breathing life back into her and like reawakens
interesting.
her. Yeah, it's just so sentient swords to me are just so beautiful because it's like the idea that you have a weapon
Hmm.
that not only has a personality, but you could go even further into they could be dead and you could be breathing life back into them.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful to me. Like maybe we should have a whole episode of sentient swords.
That's cool. I think swords are just cool in general. Sentient
Right.
swords are great, but I admittedly don't know that many. For whatever reason, my mind just went to the Percy Jackson pen sword. Yeah, so in the Percy Jackson series, he's given this pen, and when he clicks it, it turns into a sword, like a whole ass,
Okay.
like long sword.
Right.
And it's not sentient, but it is like magical, so like it's cool,
Yeah.
but definitely not. Yeah, I mean, there's Ash Drinker. I don't know any other sentient swords, I don't think.
I think just the idea alone of sentient and animate objects. Like as a as I wasn't even going
Just
there yet. I wasn't going there yet, but
you didn't immediately go to Halloween?
I didn't immediately go to Halloween. That's your section anyways. But but I just like as a witcher taught to talk to your house.
Hmm.
To welcome it, to tell it goodbye, to name it because there's power in naming. Um so like you're just kind of like in this mentality of like this old world, even witchcraft, or not even witchcraft, but just like paganistic ideology is the fact being that you treat everything as if it's a sentient being. And even if you want to get into religion and you want to get into the God side of it, scripture even says like the rocks and the sun and the moon and all this stuff will sing out to me. So technically, even God's saying it. You know, like everything's sentient in its own way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, like for the longest time, we thought of plants as non-sentient beings, but they send out electrical signals and they can actually feel not pain as we feel it, but they can feel pain in their own way. You can hook up electrodes to mushrooms
mhm.
and they'll play their own music.
The sun has its own song. Yeah, like
Hmm.
NASA, you can go to NASA and listen to the sun song.
Yeah.
Like everything has their own sound waves, which in its own rights and passages should tell you that everything is sentient in its own way.
Hmm.
Trees will communicate with other trees miles away from each other. Root
Yeah.
systems connect together. They communicate. If someone walks into the woods and a tree gets a bad feeling about it, trees half a mile away, no, look out for you.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that that's not sentient. And so it's just, I don't know. It's really cool. I love that concept. So anytime there's something like that in a novel, it's like, oh, yay, this is good. I like this. So,
Yeah. Well, and like too about trees being sentient, like you can also they also like send out signals to you, right? So you can
yeah.
walk into a wood and you can feel welcomed.
Hmm.
There's a trail that I go run on by my apartment all the time, and I've only ever stepped foot on that trail once and had a bad feeling.
Right. And it was
And
probably warning you or something.
yeah, well, there was this dude. I got a mile into my run, and there was this dude like up on a hill, like behind a bunch of trees, and like just creeping around. And I
So
was
they're
like,
trying to warn you.
mm-hmm,
Mm.
yep. And, animals go silent and all of these things. So like, yeah,
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 what's
sentient
the
creatures.
Appalachian rule is if the woods all of a sudden go silent, you need to run because they're trying to tell you something.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
yep. Ugh, I
Well,
cannot. I won't go up into the Appalachia.
no, I think people are crazy for doing it.
Fucking
Like I barely know anything, but I will flat out tell you that you will not see me anywhere near Appalachian. And they're like everywhere, but like it's like no.
yeah.
Listen, I live close enough I live like close enough to a mountain range to know not to fuck with mountain ranges anyways. And I'll take mountains over a beach any day. I really will. I'm a mountains kind of girl. I'm not a beach girl. Like if we do vacations, it's gonna be let's go somewhere cold. Let's go
Mhm.
to the mountains.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm married to someone that grew up in Hawaii, and it's like, can we just land
Oof.
on the beach already? And like, poor
Yeah.
Tom.
Ugh, man. I don't know. I don't know. I just there's just something about it. There's something about, and yet I'm still drawn to eerie, creepy worlds because
Oh yeah.
I mean, the kingdom of Blunder is literally a mist surrounded, isolated, creepy ass place with
I
things,
have a mist
sentient
book.
mist.
Yeah, I have a mist book. And the mist is a little sentient. Not really, but a little sentient in that book too. They're completely
Mhm.
different though. Maybe I'll go over my mist book at some point for you.
That would be fun.
It's a
But
great book. You would absolutely love it.
I
Yeah,
will look forward to when you bring it on.
definitely. That'll be my November book. The female main character reminds me a lot of you. This tiny, quirky, and badass. She's a
I
little over the hill, but
try.
she's like badass, so. But
I'm here for it.
all right. Well, this was a great episode. Thank you for bringing this out and doing this episode. It's fantastic.
My pleasure. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
am excited to hear what you think about it when you eventually read it. Um, and of course, I hope that everybody listening also decides to read it. If you
Hmm.
do, drop us a comment. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, the works. Like, follow, subscribe,
Go all the
favorite,
buttons. Yeah.
all the buttons, every single
Share with your
button.
friends. Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
I will say next episode will be our Halloween episode, and it is definitely one of our palate cleansers. Not something to be taken serious at all, but
Oh,
we've
I'm gonna
mentioned it
spoil
since
the whole
day one.
book.
Huh?
Oh, we're gonna spoil that whole book.
Oh,
Like, there's
yeah,
no way that we
yeah.
can talk about it without spoiling it.
Listen, this is not going to be a dance around. We're spoiling the whole damn book, and you're still going to want to pick it up and read it. There's not
Yeah,
going to
you're gonna have
be
to
anything.
experience it for yourself,
Yeah,
is what it's gonna come down to.
yeah, you have to. I was rereading it last night on the way back from a hockey game and was just like giggling and reading out one-liners by Tom. And Tom was like, did she do the one-liners first and then decide to write the book? And I'm like, I have no idea. But at some point, she sat around with her friends and was like, what are all the best Halloween one-liners we can come up with?
Amazing.
They're
Yeah, I'm
great.
so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited. But anyways, that's for next week. So don't forget, be wary, be clever, be good, and we'll see you all next week, fuckers.
Bye, fuckers. Have a good night.